A few videos back, I was dogging on AI and technology. You know, the bad things they do. I mean, I guess I suggested a few good things. But one good thing that really hits me, and it's, I mean, I've thought about this since I was a kid, and it may seem weird when I get into the subject. But I think it was to do with having friends in different countries and how unfamiliar that is to people, you know, two generations back, you know, especially in the war times. My nan grew up in the war, well, my great nan, and she would often, you know, tell me about certain stories, but she would never tell me that was within the wartime. It was kind of like me doing my own maths later down the line, going, "Oh my gosh, that was during the war." Again, she was born in London, so she was very in the thick of it. She was what I would like to call a light racist. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but it wasn't that she was racist, like hateful. It was like she just didn't understand certain things that other cultures and people did, because for the majority of her life, it was one type of people, one type of culture, one type of understanding of life. So she would say some things, again, not in a hateful way, never hated, but always with like a lack of understanding. And it was always very, very funny. And even the people she would ask the questions to that, again, she didn't understand, would laugh as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a light racist. I would call it old school racist, right? And racist might be a bit of a strong word to use, because I don't think it is that. But it's just more lack of, it's not hating, it's lack of understanding. And it always kind of made me giggle, because to me and people in our generation, you know, we grew up with all these different types of cultures and understandings of life, and for the majority of us, we grew up with, you know, most, if not all, different types, and it's quite beautiful. Anyway, so let me bring this back, right? I would remember the hate for Germany, right? German people, right? For you know, what Germany did, you know, in the war, right? Obviously now the people that live in Germany now have nothing to do with what happened in the war, right? And it's kind of faded out. But a lot of the old school people, there was a lot of, you know, there was a lot of hate for Germans back then, right? And now I know this might be going a bit skew with randomly. I grew up with friends from around the world, and I would always think about this as a kid, thinking, if we went to war, I just never would. Because imagine, you know, I'm fighting against a country that one of my friends are in, and somehow, some way I accidentally shoot them. I don't realise it's them, or I don't even think. Imagine how much that would kill me inside. Now, this is not a common occurrence for World War II, but could be a very common occurrence. I mean, if you're in my generation, how many people do you know around the world that are your friends? You know, there's a good chunk of people that have a lot of friends around the world. I credit this to technology, allowing us to connect wherever we are. And I think it's beautiful, because right now, whilst Russia is attacking Ukraine and Ukraine is defending, there is a lot of love for Ukraine. And I think if this was back in the day, there'd be a lot of hate for Russians. But the reality is, it's not that, right? We have a lot of love and respect for Ukraine, and we feel bad for the Russians having to basically go to war, right? It's not their choice. Do they want it? I don't think so. And you know, you got to think, it's kind of like a bubble. Russia's like a bubble that is kept away from everyone, and yet we can still hear their voices. We can still hear them say, "This is not what we want." And I think that's beautiful. Being able to hear them. And not only that, but also after this war ends, and I hope it ends sooner rather than later, and hopefully with the least amount of casualties. But after the war ends, it won't just be like a hate on Russian people, you know what I mean? It'll be, we're sorry you had to part with that leader. We're very sorry, you know? It's very sad. And I think the hate that the Germans got after World War II, I hope it's not the same. You know, I hope there isn't that remorse, that anger towards Russian people just because they're Russian, you know. I don't think it will be. I really don't think. And I credit, again, to technology doing that. Because if this was back in the day, the only things we would know about Russia, on Russian people, the common folk in Russia, is what our media would say, right? Or maybe what their media said. But nowadays, you know, you can call someone in Russia, how is it? You know what I mean? It's a little different. Obviously, it's a little bit more constricted than that, but we're able to, again, they are in a bubble, but we are able to hear faint voices through the bubble. I think that is amazing, because we can no longer be manipulated into thinking one type of thing, because everyone can speak, and it should always be kept like that. Anyway, I was talking about this because the war seems like it's coming to an end. Well, how many times have we heard that? Many, many times. I think, I mean, obviously there's loads of people talking about it's coming to an end, but for me, I think it's apparently Putin wants to attack NATO. And that, to me, whether true or not, seems a bit desperate, right? And I think in everything said, there's always a bit of truth in there. So whether it's come from a reasonable source, or we really think that he's going to attack NATO, or if he's not, it's like, why is that in the air then all of a sudden, right? Maybe it's a decoy. Maybe it's to test the waters. I don't know. But to me, I think either one of whatever it is, it seems like he's getting a bit desperate. And to me, when you're desperate, normally means that you're losing. You're losing, your emotions get involved, right? Think about when you're playing a game. Your emotions, you get angry, you get annoyed, you get desperate. And it's only when you're losing. You don't get like that when you're winning, or you're in a good stage. You can look at the board and see what you're dealing with. I think he's getting desperate, and I think that means that he's coming to the end. It's coming to the end. All I can hope is that when he does lose, because he will lose, that he takes it as much like a man as possible. I hope that he doesn't just resort to killing as many people as possible. Really hope that he has at least a little bit of dignity left at the end of this, where he can go, okay, and he doesn't just kill loads of people, because I feel like that very much could be the case, where he just sort of says fuck it and lets hell reign. Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.